Hello, 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 everybody. I am your androgynous AI game show host from the future, Nathan Blades, aka the Neoncaster. Welcome to the Neoncaster Twitch channel and the first session of this year's Phantom Arts Fest. Can I get applause from everyone, please? Perfect. A terrified woo is exactly how I'm feeling after having prepared for this month. But I'm so excited to go and share this with everyone. We have 7 fantastic sessions. Thank you for the follow, Ben Newbon. We have 7 fantastic sessions over the next 3 weekends, starting off with our first session, Death in Space, Old Mountain Home. I'm going to introduce the GM, and then we're going to introduce all the fabulous people who are playing with us today. Please give everybody a warm round of applause and welcome to Sheila, our GM for this evening. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sheila Ornthalis, and I run the Come and Go Tavern. We can be found at Come and Go Tavern on Twitch, on Twitter, and on Blue Sky.
And joining us for the first time on the Neoncaster channel, we have Anya.
Hello, hello. My name is Anya. My pronouns are she, her, and I am Lalian cosplay literally everywhere. I'm so excited to be here.
We also have another newcomer to the channel. Please, everybody, give a warm welcome to Percival.
Hello, I am Percival, pronouns he, she, they. You can find me on @Dr_Vibon on Twitter and Ombre Lesbian Night on Blue Sky. Yoo-hoo.
And last but by no means least, we have a regular on the channel and a personal favourite of mine, Tom. Hello, welcome.
Pleasure to be here again. It's becoming part of the furniture now, but looking forward to playing this awesome new system, and looking forward to playing with all these cool people.
Part of the furniture. What a delightful chaise longue you are. But yes, everybody, please. I'm so excited to be doing this. I'm I've said your host. I will not be directly participating in this session, but I have been producing across this event. So a lot of the kind of setting graphics here are mine. But while the credits are scrolling for this session that you were about to see, why don't you go and tell us what Death in Space is, Sheila, and then when you're ready, I'll kick it over to game footage and let everything fly.
Sure thing. So Death in Space is part of the Merkborg family of games. So it's very OSR, but with a bigger focus on anarchism and anti-fascism and all of those sorts of fun things, as well as that good, drippy, dark art style that comes with sort of the black metal aesthetic of Merkborg. Death in Space specifically is about existing in a universe that is slowly dying. I'll get more into this with my sort of opening speech that will be coming up here pretty soon. But yeah, essentially, this is a universe that is at its end, and dealing with the emotional, the social, the cultural ramifications of that sort of thing is what this system is good at. It's one of my favorites, in fact. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, if that's all we have to say, let's try and not die in space, shall we?
So, do we want to start off by introducing everybody who is playing with us today? We've already kind of talked about who each of us are, but we'll get a chance to talk about your individual characters momentarily. So, let me just go ahead and set the mood with a short introduction. It is the distant future, and the universe is dying. Humanity's original system is unknown. Home was not lost. There was no catastrophic war, no alien invasion, no rain of asteroids. Home was just forgotten. Another dot in the cosmic web of worlds upon which we live. Space is empty. It's just us. No matter where we went, we did not find anyone else. Distance and time have changed who we are, making the definition of us broader than it ever has been in ways we never could have predicted. But still, we are alone. Yet we cannot shake the feeling that there is something out there, beyond the stars, beyond the known worlds, just beyond the hull. Things break that should not. Static creeps into every channel a little more with every passing day, and the stars are winking out one by one. The universe is dying, and we are alone together. So that is the world into which you find yourselves, into which you are joining us. And yeah, that's the world where we enter the Iron Ring, humanity's last bastion of hope, maybe to some people, but otherwise just a place for us to die, unfortunately. It is kind of this ring-like construction of other ships and hulls and things that have been brought together, orbiting a planet around which used to be the most opulent sort of cosmopolitan mining group that brought up all of these minerals that allowed us to travel across the stars using blink drives and other faster than light tools. But now it's a hulk put together from the dying hulls of dying ships. So let's go ahead and start at the top. Ashvini, can you tell us about who you are as a character?
Hi, I am Ashwini. Actually, Ashwini. 526. One of the one of the just fairly ordinary members of the very long and prestigious line of Ashwinis, who named after the god of healing and medicine, we were just doctors. We took care of this one ship. We took care of a civilization that traveled across space and tried to find new homes. Or at least I was supposed to. And something happened, and then I was I woke up. I wasn't supposed to wake up. I was like back up 85, and so as you can see, I'm Chrome. I'm an AI body in an organic one, and I was, and the first thing I remember is my one of my creators and my eldest sister waking me up and telling me to leave. What? And as I left, I watched the spaceship blow up. Not even blow up. It like melted. Have you ever seen an entire spaceship, a huge one that can host an entire civilization, melt? Because that's what happened. It melted. That was the second thing I saw. So now I just stay in various outposts, and I know there's an answer. I was always really good at chemistry. That was the thing I was programmed with. So I just now spend time like trying to find. There has to be a chemical thing. There has to be something in the chemistry of the world as to why it's reacting this way. Why is the universe dying? There has to be an answer. There always is an answer. And if we find the answer, we have a solution. No matter what people tell me.
Excellent.
Also, my pronouns are he and they.
There you go. We'll go a little bit more in depth into how Ashvini deals with the world a little bit later, but let's go ahead and get to know Kari now.
So Kari is interestingly also with a Chrome background. They pronounce she, they. Tend to go more in the technological, like trying to just create and fix up machines more than anything else. They weren't really born, so to speak, but rather they had a family. They were a part of a family. that is now gone.
Mm.
And so everything that she does now is to find and hold on to those people that she sees as family. Whether they think that or not is another matter.
Fair enough. Then I suppose let us move on to the last player in today's play, Rosmer.
Hello, I'll be picking the role of Rosmer Carr this session. Pronouns he, him. Rosmer, in a very similar way to the universe, is a man who's slowly falling apart. He was born on a small lunar colony which worshipped strange monoliths that were decorated around. That they, no one knew the purpose of these, but they've been there. They were there when humanity arrived, and he spent his time, formative years in this. We won't throw words around, cult, probably quite accurately. Until one day, he dug up a small black cube out in the expanse, and it's perfectly proportioned on all sides, and curious oily writing appears on its surface. Rosmer took this as a sign, and he's wandered the universe ever since, never really stopping anywhere for too long, directed by whatever whims or things they can work out from the writings. And he doesn't know if he's getting towards the end of his journey, or whether he'll reach it before his body gives out, but he'll keep travelling on regardless.
Excellent. Good to know. So, while your eventual destination is going to take you to your communal gathering place, the Busy Bulkhead, a little dive bar, if you can even call it that, considering its walls are just made out of tarp and some framing. For now, let's actually get to know each character mechanically speaking, with a little bit of a scene at each of you's jobs. So, let's go ahead and swap out our background noises. Ashvini. It is another day at the Mackenzie Cytology Lab. This is kind of the lab for hire that you've found yourself at for quite some time now. It's your current job. Let's say your current contract, the thing that's keeping you in credits, the thing that's keeping you working day to day so that you can do what you really want to do afterwards, is trying to create a new form of coffee plant that can both survive in the outer portion of the Iron Ring's growth pods, but doesn't sacrifice the caffeine for which the plant is valued. You've been making progress recently, but there's still a ways to go. This is where we find you, just kind of working at your station as one of the... Well, you tell me how you feel about this supervisor. Is this somebody who you like them, they've been helpful for you, or is this going to be somebody who is that annoying supervisor who shows up at the worst possible moment?
So right now, Ashwini's kind of sitting on a table. It's like a very classic sort of chemistry lab. Chemicals are boiling. Things are grinding and moving along. Things are everything's been scrubbed, very to sparkling clean. All and it smells of disinfectant. Like Ashwini leaves she leaves nothing to chance. Even if germs are slowly dying, there are still germs left, so we need to get rid of them and make sure they don't interfere in the process. So she's kind of she took this job because it's the one thing she knows, and she knows she was literally programmed with knowing everything possible. So this supervisor, it feels arbitrary in a dying but still recoverable world. That in a world where everything is collapsing, everything is melting, somehow a literal born for chemistry AI still apparently needs a supervisor. So she's like, he's like, you are entirely superfluous. Why are you here? Okay, so he's too nice because honestly he doesn't care enough to fight with the supervisor when they try to flex on him, because he knows he's better. He is the star chemist. He knows that he's
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay. So then, I'm kind of imagining this supervisor then as very much a middle manager type who has somehow carved out this position for himself and just absolutely is there to create problems that he can then solve.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So this guy comes up and says, "Yeah, found these chemistry results. I'm not entirely sure I understand what you were going for with these, but the machine was saying that they were done working for the day, so I figured I would bring it on over to you." And he hands you this tray, and the timer on it hasn't actually gone off yet, but thankfully the lights on the top of all three canisters are green, indicating that the experiment that you were working on, this is the most recent attempts at synthesizing this plant. So it's technically done, but this guy trying to create a job for himself has jumped the gun a little bit, shall we say.
Okay, so you see the green. If you've seen the green, all of them. That means that it is successful. You don't have to worry. We are well on the process, and I can. Well, I will never give a guarantee. It is chemistry, it is science. Everything is unpredictable in the world that we live in. However, this is going very well, and if you would like, in just give it 5 minutes, just maybe like you can walk around for a bit, come back, and I will, we can taste the results of it ourselves. I mean, I can't taste it in the same way you can, but caffeine does have interesting reactions that I have yet to fully quantify. But I'm sure you can help it, and imagine how it would look. You are the first tester, and you can, and it's all because of you.
Fantastic. I'll check back in about 5 minutes then. And
Fantastic.
So he kind of very self-centeredly, very I've done my job kind of thing, wanders off to bother the next person. Now, that being said, do you have any interest in actually opening the canisters at this time, or do you want to wait for the timer to pop off properly?
Oh, no, he's going to wait. He's a lot of things. Impatient on chemistry is not one of them.
Fair enough.
On making the work, getting the job done.
Fair enough. So, you wait the additional 5 minutes, but the supervisor, interestingly enough, doesn't actually show back up. This isn't entirely uncommon with him. If he finds something more interesting or somebody more bothered by his presence, it's fairly common for him to, stick to them and make himself a problem elsewhere. Do you want to wait for him to actually return, or do you want to, once the timers are done, actually start opening stuff up?
He only said that to make sure that the supervisor does go away and come back later, and whatever happens after that is frankly on him. So he's like, oh, he's not coming back. Ashwini has forgotten about his presence. Like, fully superfluous.
Alrighty. So, you have a choice of 3 canisters here: left, right, center. Which one do you want to open first?
You know what? Let's go with center.
Center. Okay. So, the moment that you crack open the top of the canister, even though you've indicated that you don't have what some people would consider proper senses of taste and smell, you do still taste and smell in your own way. Because, what is smell except for sensors in our brains picking up particulate in the air and interpreting them in a specific way? So, for all intents and purposes, you have these senses. But thankfully, you are not as offended as some other people might be by the smell of rot. As you open this canister to discover that this synthesis, this particular formula, did not survive particularly well when exposed to the amount of UV in the growth pods. You have a few options here. You can, of course, reseal it back up, try to destroy it later, get rid of it some way or shape or form. You could go through the official process of, writing up the paperwork right now, or alternatively, if you wanted to, you could even save it for some nefarious or tricksy means for later use, or some other option that I haven't listed so far. So, what would you like to do with this first result?
Well, that's okay. Okay. So this is okay. So we have a failure here. Okay, writing that down. Um, but all failures are future bomb materials. So he's going to just use, and like he's like, oh, that's interesting. That's not the same kind of rot as before. Maybe this could actually help in like making like a plant bomb, like some kind of nature based thing where like who knows, maybe like algae grows all over and rots the enemy or whoever is annoying him today from inside. It could be cool. So he's going to put that aside for nefarious schemes.
Okay. Go ahead and add that to your inventory then, please.
Okay.
All right, so you have the left and the right canisters left. Which would you like to go after?
Left.
Left? Okay. So, the left one, as soon as you crack the lid on the top of this canister, you see a little bit of green begin to poke out. That seems great. That means that something has actually begun to grow. This is a huge step forward. It's very healthy. In fact, the little vine that pokes out is visibly extending. And as you continue to open the lid, more begin to sprout and begin to very quickly spread. So, could I get... I think we're going to ask for some sort of check, but what type of check we're going to do depends on how you are going to react to this. So what are you doing?
Okay, so Ashwini sees this thing like that is so growing so fast. And Ashwini is a consummate mad scientist in the first place. And this is new. This is, oh my God, this is growing so fast. This is amazing, great. So his first reaction is going to be trying to get this into a different area that's not going to make a mess in this lab that he does not control per se.
Okay.
He doesn't want to get fired, so
yes. Yeah. Exactly. There is a nearby fume hood. If anybody who doesn't know what a fume hood is in the audience, essentially it is a containment area for doing chemical reactions and things like that. But because of the fact that this is spaceborne, we are on a colony ship, essentially, even if it's a giant one, these sorts of fume hoods are sealed even beyond the normal amount. So you're fairly certain that if you can get this thing in there quickly enough, that you can contain it. So go ahead and give me a dexterity roll.
Okay. What dice do I use? A 1d8, right?
No, this is going to be a 1d20, and if you go into your character sheet and just click on dexterity, that should roll it for you automatically. Now, this is not Ashvini's strong suit, but we're going to see how this works out.
Yeah, it really is not. Oh,
okay. So, as you begin to, kind of process and cogitate these things, even though it only takes a split second to actually have all of those thoughts, you come to that realization just a hair too late. And as you are trying to drop off this canister into the fume hood, you realize that it actually still, like the plant itself, has its vines wrapped around you. Fortunately, and this might be the first time in your entire existence here that this is a fortunate moment, that supervisor does actually show back up right about now. And annoying as he is, that panic response that most people have to instantly try and solve a situation actually works out really well for both of you at this moment. Because, you hear the, oh, geez, and immediately he comes over and starts like clawing at the vines and essentially trying to shove them off of you and into the fume hood. And so even though you got in a bit of a dire situation there, between the two of you, you were able to sort of shove it into that hood and slam the lid shut and engage the vacuum seal on it. Unfortunately, that also does mean that he has the biggest shit-eating grin on his face that you've ever seen him have. And he's had quite a few. Well, I showed back up right at the right time, didn't I?
Yes.
Might be a little too successful on that one.
Yeah. Yes. I. Sorry. Something went in my throat. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to open the last one? The first one I had to destroy. It didn't work out. I think I think we may have added a little bit of extra fertilizer from that asteroid. From asteroid 8.995. But I mean, I might just have synthesized it. I've obviously synthesized it differently for these two. Maybe the last one works out. Who knows? Stranger things clearly have happened.
Stranger things indeed. Yeah, sure, it'd be my honor. And again, with the kind of, swaggering, nothing bad can happen to me attitude that all middle managers seem to carry, just cracks open that last canister, and maybe you feel a little bit of trepidation having such strange results on the first and the second one. But as he looks into it, it's just the beginnings of a normal coffee plant. It worked. This is the one that works. Well, I think we're onto something on this one. I'll go ahead and pass this up to the folks upstairs. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy about that. Thank you, sisters.
Of course, he's going to take way more credit for this than he deserves, but that's a problem for another time.
If coffee is the thing that I am going to be known for, I would rather you just kill me now.
So, moving on, the camera pans through the walls, 1990s sci-fi style. We see some cabling. We see all of the little machines and everything that actually keep these halls together and keep the air moving and all of that. And eventually swing out into space. The silence of space is pretty wide and broad. Whoop. And apparently there are dogs in space, if you hear that. But inside of her helmet, Kari is able to sort of center themselves and, figure things out a little bit more. But at the same time, there is absolutely a job to be done. So let's go ahead and shift our background to something a little more appropriate. The hum of your suit around you and all of its processing and all of that sort of stuff is calming. But you hear the tinkle and sparkle of materials. This isn't normal in the shipbreaking yard, in the outer refabrication yard, I should say. Normally, the magnetic nets that keep the small parts of the ships you're cutting apart, sort of contained, would be preventing something like that. But something has gotten loose. So what are you doing, Kari?
Well, that's not good at all. I would say that she's probably dangling from something at this moment, like on a cable of some sort, dangling. Mm-hmm. And just looking around, trying to see what's making that noise.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a savvy check, please.
Okay.
Especially as alarms begin to go off.
Oh, that's exciting. I have a -1 on savvy.
Well, no worries, because that explosion was fairly obvious. As you begin to, sort of, not even intentionally, but just instinctively turn those alarms off, you know exactly where that explosion was, and you know for a fact that that was a ship that was being worked on by some of your fellow Breaker crew members. So how would you like to deal with this situation?
Well, first of all, Kari just curses fluently in their head and is immediately going to try to charge off to assess the situation and see if it's even safe for them to enter and try to find the people who were there.
Sure. So I will give you either a dexterity check to try and make the, to find a point where you can really truly safely land, or I will give you a tech check to see, if there is a specific best place to enter this now extremely damaged Hulk.
I'm going to go with the tech check because I have a 2 on that.
Okie dokie.
I'm going to be assessing everything around me.
Fair enough.
Hey.
Nice. Okay. So then, you rely mostly on your suit's sort of auto guidance and orientation systems to make the actual journey for you. But you set your target on an area that looks like it used to be corridor, and so thus should still be in the best shape, even as other bits of this ship are starting to sort of cook off. You're avoiding any of the areas that look particularly sharp, look damaged, anything like that. And for such a high success, I'll go ahead and give you that. You're also kind of somewhat familiar with how this ship was being taken apart. You've taken other things of similar classifications apart before yourself, so you kind of have a good idea of, okay, they've already drained all of the fuel lines here, the electrics are turned off there, there's no fluid pressure in these zones. So once you are in this corridor, how would you like to go about sort of searching for your fellow crew members?
I feel like the easiest thing, seeing as with my origin benefit, I am native machine. I would love to, if I'm able to, plug in somehow to this ship and see if there's like motion sensors, heat sensors, anything of that nature.
Okay. Yes, I will allow you to go ahead and plug into this ship, but as I mentioned before, a lot of it has already been shut down. So if you could go ahead and give me another tech check to try and again, I'll give you a choice. You can either use a tech check to try and boot things back up, or you can use a savvy check to sort of use the remaining things that are online to sort of triangulate positions.
As much as I just want to just use the tech check because that's the higher roll, I feel like savvy makes more sense.
Okay.
So
yeah, you're moving fast, so that makes sense, yeah.
I'm going to go with that savvy. Ooh.
Okay. That's not great. You do gain a void point, however. So something interesting as far as this system goes is instead of glitches for Cyborg or, and I forget what they're called in Merkborg, but Inspiration in 5e, is we have what's called void points that allow us to sort of cheat a little bit. in future rolls whenever we have a critical failure such as this. So go ahead and mark 1 void point if you would please.
I have.
Alrighty then. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have failed, but you have lost time in doing this. So you do notice a few different people in the ship. There were a total of 3 at one point, but as your panic begins to rise, you notice that there are now only 2. So you have a couple of options here. You don't have enough information to know who is what, but let's say a left person and a right person. You will probably be able to get to both of them eventually, but you have to make a choice on who you're going to first.
I'm going to say, because it just feels natural, don't ask me why, it feels like Kari would always go to the left first.
Okay, love to hear that. Okay. So, as you pick your way across this hull, you eventually come to an area where it looks like your supervisor was working. Or your general supervisor. Like this is a kind of a very team-based environment. Like it's not everybody's necessarily going to be working on the same hull at the same time, but you can kind of call each other over in case things go bad. And in this case, things have in fact gone bad. I'm not going to weigh us down with a name for this person, but let's just say that she is trying to free the unfortunate third person who is no longer with you from where they've been twisted around and through a piece of wreckage. And again, you are starting to notice that particulate mass floating through the air.
Do I have a sense that that particulate is dangerous to breathing folk?
Yes, it would be. Generally speaking, in space, any sort of fast-moving particulate essentially becomes bullets. So that's probably what caused this in the first place. Essentially, there was a failure in one of the magnetic nets, as I mentioned before, and it pierced a fuel line, a gas line, something went pop, essentially.
I am immediately going to go over to the supervisor, who I'm going to name Sarah, because why not?
Sure.
Just, Sarah, we need to go. There's nothing that we can do for them. We need to get out of here fast.
Okay. And you can see that she has actually already patched up a hole in her suit with essentially gaff tape, because hey, it works. And there is a little bit of fleck of red that is floating nearby her. But she doesn't resist. She is shaking. She is shaken. But you're able to pull her away just through sort of lashing your suits together using sort of steel cables. All right. To get to the next person from where you are at, however, this is definitely going to be a dexterity roll now. Because of the fact that you are dragging Sarah? Sarah, thank you. With you.
Imagine it with 2 R's.
Okay.
So dexterity?
Dexterity, please, indeed.
Please don't be bad. Oh!
So,
the dice gods do not like me.
Yep. We were doing so well, and then it's a little sine wave, really. Okay. So, as you pick your way through this, that second explosion that just went off has now completely changed the interior shape of this ship. And what was once a clear path is now somewhat blocked off. You can see that the signs and sounds of this survivor are slowly drifting away from you. So it's very likely that they are in a piece of the ship that has now been blown off. What would you like to do?
Is there any way to, leave? I feel like having Sarah with me will not be helpful, and so it would be best for her to get to safety and for me to find a way to, I don't know if there could be a grappling hook situation or something. I mean, it's space,
absolutely.
But to latch onto that section to get that other person.
Absolutely. So yes, you can pick your way back out of this section of the ship and essentially just sort of put her in a more dead hull that she'll be safe inside of, that debris won't pierce through too badly.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, you can have a grappling hook in this sort of situation. That's kind of actually how I imagine you having gotten over to the ship in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, give me one last dexterity check, and we're going to see if you can make it in time.
It's gone so well so far.
Yep, but at this point, it is a matter of speed, and there is no question about that.
Absolutely. Well, let's see what happens. So close.
So close. Oh, but you do have a void point.
I do have a void point, so I can use this for advantage. Is that right?
Give me just a second to double check that, because there's a few different things you can do with void points. Which page did that get to?
Well, what
there we
I'm
are, void points.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So you can gain advantage on an ability check or an attack roll, or you can activate a cosmic mutation. Those are the two biggest things there.
Okay, what's a cosmic mutation?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So cosmic mutations are sort of one of the forms of magic in this system, but nobody has gained one of those yet.
So right now I can only roll with advantage with my void point.
Essentially, yes.
Okay, I will roll with advantage because I want to, like, my driving force here is to make sure that no one is left behind, essentially.
And it should also be noted that you actually gain void points on every failed ability check, so Ashvini should also have a void point at this point as well.
Okay, so I would have 2 then, correct, or 3?
Well, 2 for right now because you're about to apply 1 to this one.
Right. So then it goes back down to 1, and I'm going to roll dexterity again. Please be more than a 12.
Fantastic. For a split second, you were in a universe where you failed, but you blink and you have now figured out the way to correct yourself, and using this sort of magnetic grappling system, dragged yourself to this piece of ship that is beginning to hurtle away. Thankfully, it looks like this person had actually sort of gone into an old sort of escape pod, but the engines on the pod have failed. And so now it is just a question of, popping the hatch for them from where it has been mangled from the outside, and you're able to get them out and to safety. It's a little weird, but from far away, seeing these explosions begin to pop off is kind of beautiful. Since you're not in the middle of it anymore, anyway.
Yeah. I pull my fellow worker out of this escape pod. Are you all right?
Yeah, that was... been a while since something like that happened. Yeah, let's not do that again.
Sounds like a good idea. Shall we return?
Yeah.
Right. Grappling hook back over to our regular area.
Space Spider-Man up here. And with that, let's go ahead and have our camera shift again, going back into the Iron Ring and continuing into the inner portions of it. To an area that's just simply called... Oh, goodness gracious. How far? The bunkhouse. There we are. This is sort of... Imagine the flop house of a space station. It's near the center, so its gravity is significantly less than most other places, but it's cheap. And that's kind of what matters to Rosmer in this case. So, Rosmer, whatever you do to actually make a living in your daily life, right now you're not on the job, per se. You are observing and enjoying the presence of your cube. So tell us a bit about that.
The hunched form of Rosmer probably stuck himself between two pillars to give him a level of support and not drift as much in the low gravity that he's currently enjoying. He'll be looking deeply into the very angled sides of this strange alien artifact, and every so often scratching something onto the wall by the side of him. At a casual glance, possibly almost looks like a star chart being slowly built. As he sort of turns it round, crinks his neck slightly, and then he'll rotate the cube, letting it float slightly in the air, and as it rotates to another face, and then catching it again and continuing this most ritualistic inscribing that looks like he's probably been doing uninterrupted for several hours now.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that the cube's edges were very sharp. Is this just a bizarrely molecular accuracy to these corners, or are the corners of this cube maybe a little bit acute somehow? Like, if you just look at it, it looks like a cube, but if you focus on it a little too much, it's not actually a cube.
The angles just aren't quite as Euclidean as could be led to believe. I quite like that, yeah.
Okay. Then, as you begin to focus once more, the world seems to get smaller. The cube takes up more of it than it should, almost as if you're looking at things through a fisheye lens. The thing that you're focusing on takes up more and more space. And the first time that this happened, maybe it was terrifying, but this is something you've been doing for years. This is something that you find relaxing at this point, as more and more of the void takes up your vision. But this is what you do. This is how you learn. This is how you pick apart the universe. So how do you feel about that, really?
I'm currently searching, I think. As it feels like even on his relatively relatively aimless wanderings, he's feeling restless. We've been at the station for a lot longer than he's used to. Scraping a living on whatever small jobs that he can pick up. But feeling like the cube's not talking to him as well as it used to, or maybe he's getting old and just can't hear it as well as he once did when the eyes are going, or tries to put these feelings of doubt to one side and concentrate.
Okay. Then go ahead and give me a savvy check.
Shall.
So I don't think this is quite understanding technology as we know it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So go ahead and take a void point. Yeah, you feel yourself sort of wrenched back to reality. Everything comes back into sharp, standard focus. That fisheye sort of bending of light snaps back to how you think it should look. And you realize there's just too much noise here. As I mentioned, the bunkhouse is a flop house, essentially. There are individual bunks all over the place, and as much as you try to create a private space for yourself by maybe even renting a couple of the extra ones in this pod, it's still thin walls. It's still too many people. It's still too civilized for what you need to be doing right now.
He'll give a somewhat long-suffering sigh, sniffing in and rubbing his nose at the congealed mass of humanity around him. He'll gently put the cube away and ponder that he might go and try and find somewhere a little bit more out of the way, the quieter districts, perhaps.
Okay. There are a few places that you've been to in the past to try and work through these sorts of things. But the quietest place that you find today is also, unfortunately, one of the more grim sections of the station. This is a place that most people don't really go to anymore because even though it's been scrubbed down and the owner, or like not the owners, but the operators of the ring swear up and down that, oh yes, it's clean, it's fine. What killed all of those people is no longer around. Every once in a while, in your observations, you still hear something in this area. So, would you like to do anything to prepare to make another attempt to maybe push these things back, or are you just going to throw caution to the wind and go for it?
I think he's probably going to do. So, running his hand down the juicy cleaned walls and try and find maybe a small room, maybe almost like a closet or a store or some such, where he can close the door and allow it just that level of perfect silence that he needs.
A little bit of both, then, as the first room you come upon is actually an airlock. It's possible to fully seal yourself within it, separating yourself from the atmosphere of the rest of the ship. Even if you don't properly cycle the atmosphere, it's going to be a big amount of separation, but also a temptation.
He'll nod to himself, found what he's looking for. He'll give a cursory sweep over the instrumentation around it just to make sure that there's these old ships, tales of people getting blown out into space without forewarning, running to the back of his mind. So we'll make sure we found somewhere a little bit safe and quiet.
Okay. Well, there's no one around. Okay. You seem to be the only one in this area.
Shall let myself in then and close the door.
Okay.
I'll be sit down cross-legged in the small amount of space, looking out at the inky blackness beyond out the porthole. And then we'll reach and produce the cube again and attempt his concentrations and meditations further.
All right. So go ahead and give me another savvy check, please.
I think I will use my void point for this.
Very well. You can go ahead and roll it twice and we'll take the better.
Okay. Excellent.
It's a good thing that we did there. So, as the cube's strange effects on your vision begin to take over, the presence of a window out into the space around you seems to be what you needed. Because the edges of the cube and the edges of space begin to dissolve. And where the stars once were, they seem to not necessarily rearrange themselves, but just be in different places. There is no detectable movement, is what I'm getting at, but the shape of them changes. And for the first time in a while, you get the sense that this is meant to not just be a place you need to find, but a destination. Somewhere for you to go. Maybe it's the next step in your journey, maybe it's the final step in your journey. There's no way of knowing. But you have an idea of where you're supposed to be next, finally.
At last, see the clouds part and the murky depths become clearer. I'll smile slightly in a self-mocking way. We'll hold the cube to his chest and then place it away and return to gather his meagre belongings for his next journey.
Then, on that note, you perhaps for the final time, but the others for another time in a series, begin to get off work and head towards the public meeting area in the Iron Ring that you all sort of share. Just one moment to shift you over to the correct locations. There we are. All right, there we are. So, end of the workday, beginning of your next journey. Who knows what we're celebrating today? But the three of you come together in the common area nearest to you in the Iron Ring. This is sort of an amalgam of ships whose hulls have been cut and welded together to create what would be a wide open area. Area. If people hadn't then used the removed parts and pieces from those ships to build new walls for the scattering of businesses, homes, and disused shacks that now litter this fusion of former vessels. It's a combination of living space, work, and leisure, where people live, they work, they laugh, they love, they come to blows, all of those sorts of things. And nearby is your favorite bar, the Busy Bulkhead. But I figure we might give you a few moments to meet up and talk with one another before heading over.
Ashvini, Rosmer, good to see you.
Indeed, it's been a while. So, how's your work been going?
It's been hard. We lost someone today.
Sorry to hear that.
It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you, Rosmer. How's your work? Have you found any answers?
Merely more steps for the journey, I believe. I think my time for staying on the station is finally coming to a close.
Is that a good thing?
Time will tell, I guess. I shan't know until the next steps are taken. Please,
I will miss you. I will miss your presence. When you leave. If you can find a... I don't know if these might come across your travels, but if wherever you go next has a better lab I can work in, please do mention my name. It's lonely without friends.
You have us, don't you?
I was never meant to be alone in the first place. I was, one of so many. I was always supposed to be a set. I came as a set. So, it's, don't have that now, but I have you all, and as strange as I find some of your reactions, but I do enjoy your company.
Perhaps then this might be a good time to raise a glass to, ourselves, the future, and those who've come before us. I do believe it's round to my turn to purchase the drinks.
Yes.
So, as you begin to head towards the Busy Bulkhead, you notice that there are at first like one or two people who are running in the opposite direction as you. And then this one or two becomes three or four, and then 5 and 6. And you catch sight of the fact that people are actually running out of the bar that is so normally so welcoming. And just as you are about to arrive, you hear a laser shot. And you begin to run towards the danger. But from there, let's take a 5-minute break.
Hey.
All right, everybody. Hold on. I'm muted in the call.
I'm so curious now.
Unmuting myself in the call so the rest of the chat can hear, so the rest of the call can hear me. Yes, we're going to be taking a 5-minute break. Everybody get the opportunity to stretch, and we'll come back to see where that laser was fired from. See you all in 5, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We just had a gunshot emerge from nowhere, from the bar, and we need to go investigate what it is. So, Sheila, take it away.
So, let's go ahead and switch around the vibe a little bit. When you get into the busy bulkhead, this normally pleasant, wonderful, sort of almost closet of a bar is in shambles. Tables are overturned, stools are knocked down. Nico, this old man who all of you know as just the constant fixture of the bar, the grandpa, the person who tells stories and talks about the good old days and when he used to sail the Sea of Stars, is lying on the ground in a pool of growing blood, with two of these fine people standing over him. The important part with these folks is that both of them are exactly the same. Even amongst chromes, this is an irregularity. Most of the time, chromes are still given their own individualization. They are people, fully and truly. These folks are eerily similar to one another. Their eyes both glow with this strange magenta, purplish hue, and when they see you pop in the door, they look at one another. There's a blurt of something that I can only describe as dial-up noises before both of them dive for cover and take a couple of shots at you. Now, as was kind of discussed off call, because I know that we have used a bit of the auto generation for characters on these, you may not be equipped for this. So I'm going to invite everybody to just have a 1d6 pistol if they would like it, or you can use a melee weapon of some sort. You know, if it be it a wrench, be it a beaker, a microscope, for crying out loud, anything would be fine. Or even maybe find something at hand in the bar if that's more your style. But even though the rules would normally be, the people taking the aggression get the first shot, I'm going to give you a moment to get your bearings and let me know what you want to do.
Okay, I feel like Kari would have like one of those heat lasers that you use to cut things apart. I don't know how to describe it. Like, think of in Firefly. They have some fun tools like that. So I feel like she would have something like that she could totally use to also attack people.
Let's go ahead and I'm still gonna count that as a 1d6 pistol, specifically because you wouldn't want to use it in its full, like, laser on fully, because you might cut through the colony.
Yeah.
So this is going to be more of a fanning that trigger to just kind of poke with it. But if you feel like the fact that it is a melting laser of some sort might be useful for a specific moment, let me know and we will add something spicy to it. How about that?
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Since you were the first person to speak up, I guess I will go ahead and give you the opportunity to go first if you would like.
Well, reading the situation, it feels like this is absolutely, these two people attacked our poor elderly, like, barman, correct? I'm immediately going to go to the left one, since I've established that Kari always goes to the left.
Fair enough. Okay. So this is going to be a ranged attack.
Okay.
Which should be not a savvy, excuse me, a dexterity check.
I was hoping because it was technology based it would be a tech check, but that's okay.
What? Honestly, if that's how you want to play this, tell me, how does this become a tech check?
It's, well, part of the aspect of it being tech is that I have to finesse it to be that targeted, like, not cutting through the hole. I'm just trying to attack these chrome people. So, sure. Me being chrome, I know what that entails, I feel.
Absolutely. So yeah, go ahead and make it a tech check for me then.
Yes. Please be good.
Yes. Absolutely a hit. So while you roll that d6, let's see how much damage you make, and tell me what this does.
Let's see. So there's no button for me to push for that. So I do.
Just go ahead and call up the dice roller and hit a random d6.
Okay, let me see. Is that? Where is it? Is it this?
So
That's
second
the beyond button.
Bottom on the left-hand side, it should look like a d20.
Hang on
In the little
second.
toolbar on the left-hand side there.
Yes, I see it.
There you go.
Okay. Oop, it disappeared on me. There we go. Technology hates me. I just want to roll a d6. Okay.
Okay.
It's a 2.
It's 2, which isn't a whole lot of damage, but and people are still people. Unlike Dungeons and Dragons, where HP values can get upwards of 100 very, very easily within the first few levels, it's pretty rare for anybody to have more than 8 hit points in this system. You are, in fact, normal people who are mere steps away from the void of space, so this is still substantial damage. And on top of that, you notice that this person does not flinch when they are hit in the shoulder by this. And in fact, I mentioned before that there's something different about these two. They're not standard chromes, and when you break skin using this pistol, this laser cutter, you notice that there are just flat out sparks coming out of this person. Like, there's wiring in there. There is tubing. This is not a chrome as you know them. This is a robot.
Oh. So I'm thinking potentially. This is concerning. Ashvini, Rosemary, do you want to help here?
So, this system is sort of a modified I go, you go sort of situation. So you get to define who goes next. And it can be either an enemy or a friend. But everybody gets a turn before we run back around to the top.
Okay, well, I have shot this laser into the shoulder of the left-hand individual. Left-hand shoulder, why not?
Sure.
And Ashvini, I feel, should go next.
Hello. Okay, so I am kind of staying back, and I am essentially trying to look for something I can set on fire and kind of throw. Like Kari, I would have noticed that, oh, okay, robot. That's okay, more parts for me, I guess. And is going to... Okay, so I think what he wants to do at the moment is just kind of... He doesn't want to necessarily explode the thing, but he does want to, I would say, want to kind of freeze it or something. So he's going to look for something that he's going to look for nitrogen spray, the freezing nitrogen spray.
Okay. So, there is definitely a canister of nitrogen behind the bar over there, used for making sort of specialty drinks. You know those ones that have the fog kind of rolling off the top of them that always cost way too much and don't have enough of the good stuff in them.
Yeah.
So yes, you absolutely have access to that. So how are you going to use that?
Okay, so he's going to... Okay, I'm wondering if I probably have something that can contain the dry ice or something enough, just enough to be thrown, and it would like break on him or something. So I'm thinking something like flask or something. No, it won't. The flask won't work.
Okay. Well, how about this? How about I give you this as an opportunity? If you want to try to sneak around the bar, and that would give you essentially a look at one of these guys' blind side, and you could just open the nitrogen tank on him. Just straight up hit him with it. So, okay.
that'd be cool.
Okay. So, traditionally, dexterity is what we're going to use for sneaking, but if you can describe how you might use another ability for it, I am all ears.
Okay, my dexterity sucks, but um, I am wondering
Mhm.
if I can use a distraction upon a distraction here, and I can use my tech. Like
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe like set up some, like maybe with my pistol I can hit something that'll explode enough to distract the robot.
Oh, okay. Sure. So go ahead and use your tech to kind of find the wiring junction in the lighting above that will pop to cause sparks, but not actually damage this area.
Okay.
Love that. Love a good bit of creativity here. Excellent. So yeah, you very quickly you've been here before plenty of times. You've just passively looked at how the wiring in this room is, so you know exactly the space you need to shoot. Is this going to be a laser based sort of pistol, or are we talking like hardware bullets sort of thing?
I think hardware.
Okay. So you let bullets fly, and it smashes this junction box open, raining sparks down on the two robots, for lack of a better term for them. And you sort of do a great action movie sort of duck and roll behind this countertop and just crank the nozzle on this nitrogen container, hitting the same one that Kari hit with this ultra cold material. And I'm not going to let you roll damage on this, but I will tell you he does take a point of damage, just as the chill spreads over the sort of thin veneer of biological material, and you start to see cracks form where he's been frozen. And he's also looking like he's moving a lot slower at this point.
Okay. So what do I roll for damage here?
No, that's what I'm saying. This didn't directly do a variable amount of damage, but it accomplished a little bit of damage, so 1 point, as well as slowing this person down for the next round.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, trade-off of just a little bit of damage, but also you have added a whole bunch of utility and support for others.
Okay. He does that. He sees. Okay, he's slowed down, and he's going to he's going to hide behind the bar, and is going to take out one of his gaseous bombs. Is going to be trying to essentially get his gaseous bomb together, and is going to yell to Kari and Rosmer, just plug your nose.
Okay. So, who's going to go next then?
I think Rosmer will take the point to step up.
Right, fair enough. Gathering the enemies in one knot.
Indeed. Be a look of sadness in his eyes as he glances towards the currently downed Nico. He reaches down the side of his void suit and pulls out this. I say like a. Rosmer not ever flush with money. He's probably got some sort of like scatter gun, a lot of the style of an old-fashioned blunderbuss, almost, where it's just packed with screws and nails and other bits of rubbish that he's picked up and hard packed into it. And he's actually going to move quite close to the this one that's been hit by the nitrous gas, and bring the gun up close and pull the trigger. And we'll see what happens.
So, because this thing is moving so slowly, thanks to Ashvini's quick thinking, you are going to get advantage on this attack roll.
Okay. It's dexterity because I'm firing a gun, isn't it?
Actually, funny enough, technically, tech is going to be your ranged attack in this one because Yeah, I think that's what we've just kind of established at this
Okay.
point.
We'll go with that. Oh, I will take that.
Ooh, okay.
Nice, nice.
So there are going to be some interesting things that happen with criticals.
I think there's almost going to be
Remind
this
myself.
sudden sort of flash as he pulls it up. He flips it round so it spins into his hand, and there's a rather large bang echoes about the room.
So if you are using a shotgun, that is going to be 2d4 damage, and add another d4 for that critical.
Okay, 3d4 it is.
Mm. So, describe to me how this thing shatters.
I think this being a particularly well packed nodule that he's put together to fire, but he's probably sort of actually almost at point blank to this thing, brings the gun up in a rapid movement, and that's when it fires. There's this huge bang, and the head of this thing just disappears, leaving the body sort of standing upright, wires and sparks blinking away, as it then sags and collapses to the ground, twitching as the whatever passes for a electrical nervous system gives out. He'll then drop down slightly and cover his nose, and hearing the shout from his friend.
So, as the top of this thing's head blows out, it's left with something resembling the bottom of a skull and jaw, but the sort of milky white substance that pours out of the various tubes that were carrying, an anti-ferrofluid sort of lubrication for all of the mechanical parts, just sort of sputters and sprays. But from where its throat should be, you hear another one of those blurts of sort of dial-up noises of, very quick communications. And I know that Kari had the ability to understand sort of mechanical communication. Does Ashvini also have the same? Am I remembering correctly?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So a lot of Chromes have the ability to sort of understand the language of machines and technology. Is that something that your character has? Okay.
Yes, I have native machine.
Okay. So this is a strange dialect. It's not something that is a commonly used thing. In fact, this is almost a basic binaric code. And essentially it's just communicating to the other one to reach the airlock, return to the ship, send out warnings, those sorts of very boilerplate, not even active thoughts, but these are just reactions to what's happening in its environment as it collapses and goes non-functional. And so the second one isn't even going to take an opportunity to fire at you this round, and is instead trying to exit the area. If you want to continue fighting, if you want to try and take the second one down, I will allow us to continue into a second round, but otherwise we could end combat here.
I don't think that they should be able to get back to their ship. That sounds a horrible plan. Also, I'm concerned about the fact that they have a ship. Kari is just going to take another shot at it.
Alrighty. Go ahead and give me a tech check.
Yes. Let me get to the correct tab. But I have another void point, so I'm going to use it.
Alrighty, let's see if you can bring this around. There we are.
Yes.
So go ahead and roll that 1d6 for me.
Yep. Let me just mark that I now have 0 void points. There we go. D6.
Okay.
Better than last time.
So, you put a shot through this thing's chest, and if you needed any additional confirmation that these things are not biological or chromes in any way, shape, or form, Like, even chromes still have lungs, still have hearts. They may be mechanical in nature, they may be more resilient than some of the biological humans, but they would still flinch from this sort of a thing. This doesn't even seem to have noticed. So, yeah.
Well, that's concerning. Ashvini?
Okay. Just a second. Sorry. Okay. Ashwini is going to be looking at that and is going to look at, okay, gas won't work. Okay, gas may not be the best idea right now. Okay, back to basics. Ashwini is just going to take out chloroform and is going to jump at the robot to just try and knock it unconscious.
Okay. Let's see if this has any effect whatsoever. It is a fully robotic sort of situation and being, so chloroform may not be the best option here. But
yeah, that's also true. Okay. I was thinking chloroform because my chemistry knowledge is like -2 in real life, but let's it's not the best.
I mean, here's the thing. I could be wrong. If you roll those dice and they come up super positive, I can spin a narrative weave that makes this work. But that's
Okay.
up to you.
So okay, so I think because this is just straight up, I'm just trying to muscle in this chloroform on someone. So I think body will be better usage here, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Please be good. Please, good God.
Am I correct in remembering that you still have a void point, though? I don't think you used yours yet.
No, I don't think I have.
So, void points in this case can be used to give yourself advantage, or you can gain another void point now for usage later.
I can, I would like to use a void point.
Okay. So go ahead and roll that for me again, please.
Please, God. Please roll well. Hallelujah.
Hey! Okay. So,
Nice.
you catch up to this thing, just absolutely mad dash to it and try to wrap your hand that has this, I'm assuming like a rag that's filled with chloroform around it, yeah? Into its face. The chloroform probably isn't going to affect it as far as, it would a normal person. It's not blocking off oxygen receptors and things like that. But it's also definitely not doing any favors for its outer shell from a chemical perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and have you roll 1d4 damage for me, as you cause a rather nasty chemical reaction on it.
Okay. This I just roll on my own, right? Because I don't think.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. There's no established chloroform roll.
Okay. That's a 1.
Oh, boo.
I did not roll well.
But some damage is still damage. And again, because you are now holding onto this thing, you could easily swing it around and put it between yourself and your friends to make it an open target, if you so like.
Ashwini is going to is just going to swing it around with all his might, holding on for dear life as the robot is struggling, and is just going to yell, "Shoot!" Try not to shoot the head. I need the head.
I believe that is Rosmer's cue.
I could mute myself. So I think Rosmer's, I suspect his gun's going to require a bit of reloading, so he's probably going to leave the shot to Anya. But what I am going to do is utilize my Voidborn's ability, which is the Voice of the Void, which, if I recall the description correctly, it basically creates a lot of static interference into radio systems and the like. So I'm going to try and do that to try and confuse and disrupt this. And if it's got any friends coming, maybe cause some level of issues for them. I imagine he's got like a little thing onto his on his wrist that he suddenly starts tapping into.
Okay. Alrighty then. Then as the static, excuse me, kicking my desk, as the static sort of goes out on all channels, Ashvini and Kari are a little perturbed by this because this is a trick that you know he can do, but you don't necessarily like it about this. It starts to scramble all of the radio signals in the given area. This is Wi-Fi, radio, X-ray. All of these things just become a strange haze that may grate on your sensors or your ears, whichever you prefer to call them. But it is a very useful method for making sure that it does not contact whatever this ship is that you know exists. So, let's see if we can do a couple of things. So, Ashvini, I'm going to need a body check from you to try and continue holding on to this thing. And your DC is relatively high, it seems, but you beat it handily. Oh my goodness. Well done. So, struggle as this thing might, you have an iron grip on it. You are just not letting go, which means it's still open for a shot once the next round comes up.
Friends, please. I do not want to damage this creature, this robot's heart and lungs. Clearly, I am always in need of more body parts. Help!
Well, I believe that's my cue. Kari is just going to walk straight up to it with her laser thing in her hand that, you know, it works. And is just going to put it right up against what she knows to be a chest for even like a chrome, a normal, air quote, normal person, but who knows with these things. And she just kind of tilts her head and looks down at it, says, "What are you? Why are you here?"
It responds in the way that I don't know if any of your characters have ever encountered soldiers, true soldiers, real military in the past, but if they have, the way you would expect. It blurts a serial number and then nothing else. There's a moment where the purple dims in its eyes, and you think that, well, maybe that's it. And then I think Ashvini is going to notice it first, because they are the ones holding it, after all. There's a slight, subtle beeping that begins.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Ashwini is going to know that this robot is self-destructing, right? Like
that is 100% what's about to happen. Yep.
Okay. Ashwini is going to Ashwini is going to yell duck to his compatriots and is going to chuck the body like a football right across the bar, as far as he can get it away from him.
Sure. I'm not even going to make you make a check for this because we are officially now out of the initiative order at this point, shall we say. So you chuck this thing and it sails through the air. Now that you're actually thinking about it, this thing is almost disturbingly light. As humanoid as it looks, there's almost nothing to it. And you have a split-second moment of realization of, oh shit, I've just thrown something that could be a very, very powerful bomb into the middle of a crowded area in the station. And it's not perfect. It's not optimal still, but thankfully the explosion seems contained. You see the crystal in its forehead pop in this bright flash of magenta light. Its eyes begin to smoke. Its mouth begins to, sort of light up in little flickering, sparking moments. Something on the inside of this has melted down, has destroyed itself. There are probably parts left over, but might not be anything that would give you information on where it came from.
Okay. What about so you said there was a yellow diamond thing that
yes.
Okay.
It's kind of a magenta. Here, let me call up the image for it again.
Is that salvageable?
Unfortunately, no, because that was the first thing that popped in its forehead.
Oh, okay. So no shards or anything, like not even powder or any.
I can grant you some shards. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. First, Ashwini, it's like going to take a second. Going to look over both. Is going to look over both of his friends. Is everyone okay?
That was interesting, but I am fine, yes.
I am uninjured. Rosmer will lean down to take a look at Nico, carefully putting his hand on where the laser blast burn is and see if there's any signs of life.
Okay.
Nico is not doing well. As quickly as you all responded after the shot, he's lost a lot of blood. Hey there, Rosmer.
Nico, you're looking well. Giving a smile.
Not the first time I've been shot, but I think it might be the last.
It is not going to be the last. Do you have anything? Does anyone have anything for this? And Kari's just looking around.
The bar is fairly empty. There might be one or two people poking their eyes around corners here and there, but they're not coming any closer. Nico feebly waves a hand and says, "Don't. That is more important that you get to the old mountain." And he digs a sort of glowing thing that you can tell is a key of some sort out of a pocket and shoves it into Rosmer's hand. Go to where I live and just leave. All right? The engines are still... they're still good. Get out of here.
Rosmer will put a hand on his shoulder. May your final travel be a pleasant one, my friend.
Ashwini's just kind of staring at this dying person in this like half envy, half like curiosity. Like he didn't fully know this person as well as he probably could have, but the idea of death, and especially death in a dying world where something after this is not guaranteed, is absolutely not guaranteed, that he's just kind of looking at him and just holds his hand until his heartbeat stops.
Doesn't have to wait for long. Nobody really knows how old Nico is, but he's been here for at least long enough to have survived through 2 different bartenders at the Busy Bulkhead. And he doesn't really have, I don't want to say friends, but outside of the bar, everybody knows where he lives. It's this old, rusted out hulk that's covered in other hulks called the Old Mountain. Just because it forms this weird bulge in the section of the station that it's in, but nobody else ever goes in and out.
Rosmer will look to the rest of the party. This is not mere chance. This is fate. We need to move, and we need to move with speed.
I feel like Kari's immediate response is just to punch a wall nearby and maybe leave a little bit of a dent in it.
Mm-hmm.
Ashwini, just let's go, and nods. Just a second. Please just give me a second. We need to know anything about that soldier robot. Just give me a second. I will collect some shards, and I'll be back.
Will nod.
Okay. So, as you collect your shards and maybe observe and look after the key that was just handed to you, Rosmer, I believe we can sort of expedite things a little bit, just because I know we are on a bit of a time crunch for this scenario. Are you all agreed that you'll go and follow his wishes, or is there something else you want to do first?
Well, could I just really quickly check, because I didn't get to ask him before he died, just check to see if there's anything in his pockets, any reason why they would have gone after him versus anyone else?
Nothing that's left in his pockets is out of the ordinary. It's, sort of standard receipts and, a little bit of lint here and there. He does have a rather oddly designed pistol, but it doesn't look like it would be any more powerful or anything than you've normally seen. Just looks old, maybe from a culture that hasn't been seen in quite some time.
Well, he's not using it anymore. I'll take it.
Okay. So, then, as you all proceed to the next section over and find the old mountain, it even has what I would normally describe as quaint sign sort of attached to the wall outside of it, letters scratched into a piece of bulkhead. As you begin to explore the interior of the ship, however, it's quiet. It's too dead in here, and I will use that term because everything is dust covered. Everything that you pass has been left alone for years upon years upon years. You explore the area, you see places that should have at one point been bunks for more than 100 people who used to live here. Some of them taken over for, growing a little bit of plant material to kind of keep Nico alive, to reduce monies being spent. You see another room that is some form of medical lab, perhaps, but the cabinets have been all raided. They're still stocked, but certainly not for the number of bunks that the ship has, or at one time could have supported. And going through this, all these memories, eventually you reach the bridge. Here, however, you find that the ship is still alive. Computers are still running, at least what you assume to be computers. They are ancient in design, all physical buttons and, CRT monitors, actual, what people would think of as golden age technology, even though the golden age is so primitive compared to the things you have nowadays. But nostalgia is funny like that, isn't it? And initially, the windows are closed, but as you enter the area, they begin to rise up, these shutters revealing space, and you realize that the bridge is actually poking out of the ring itself. not the entire thing is within the station. And here, I think I'm going to allow another voice to join the call as a robot towards one end of the bridge stands up.
Hello, hello. I am the Automated Guidance Wizard, or AGW, or you may just call me Wizard. How may I be of assistance on this afternoon?
Nice.
Love it.
Wow.
It looks like you are trying to leave. Would you like assistance?
Yes, Wizard, we would. I have a destination in mind.
Of course. Please follow the following instructions. And there is one of the kind of monitors on the screen, like, lights up. And it starts the proper kind of like green on black, old school computer style interface. And it starts typing out instructions, but then they start typing out faster and scrolling faster. Did you understand all of that?
Did Ashvini and I understand that?
Yes, because of your nature, you actually were able to keep up perfectly well.
Where are my glasses?
One thing that I will point out, and I will go ahead and I'll send you a message about this, Caster. Is that there are a number of stations that pop up and their screens come to life all around this bridge. Assumably, every one of you has been on a ship's bridge before, so you're fairly familiar with, what should be going on here. There is a captain's seat at the back for giving orders. There is a pilot's chair. There are fire control locations. There is navigation, gunnery, engineering, those sorts of things. But as you begin to boot things up, you also see that the LiDAR is already lighting up. And
it appears you have hostiles.
Exactly. As the ship begins to start automatically,
Well, that's not good.
That is troubling.
Do not worry, fellow travelers on this ship. There is something I have prepared for this particular arrival. Where is the captain of the ship, if you don't mind my asking? Usually I let him do it.
He is no more, unfortunately.
A long pause. A shame. Who will be taking on new admin roles?
That would be me. I am Ashwini, model 583. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Of course, Ashvini. As admin, you have access to the MDC.
I understand. Is that the name of the machine? Is that the name of the spaceship, or is that a acronym?
It sounds like you don't actually understand, but don't worry, the wizard is available to explain. The MDC stands for the Matter Disentanglement Cannon. It is very effective.
It sounds it.
That sounds incredibly interesting. Very interesting.
We don't get to use it often, but it is incredible for removing hostiles.
Oh, Kari, would you? Okay, so am I allowed? Am I the only one who can use it, or am I allowed to hand it over to someone who is more skilled at aiming it? Let's put it like that.
If you displace your admin privileges, that will be the shortest admin privilege this system has had so far. A new record.
Okay. I guess I'm doing this. All right. I anyway want to see this. This would be so cool.
Of course. Unfortunately, the MDC only has one maximum charge before charging for 2 hours. So please make the shot count.
That is
Okay.
important to know.
Do you have any tips? I'm not usually the aiming type.
I will go ahead and interrupt you there, as those sort of background blasts you've been hearing are, in fact, the sounds of lasers being fired across your bow from a ship that you can just barely see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ashwini is going to make a run for it, to where the cannon is, and is going to set himself up.
Okay, so he'll take a spot at the gunnery station. The other two of you, you know that the most important parts of this remaining are going to be piloting and engineering. So who would like to take what role?
Well, I could honestly probably do either one. Rosmer, do you have a preference?
I know where we're heading. I'll be happy to pilot if you are happy to deal with the engineering.
Okay, then. So, as you all take your positions, we are going to go ahead and have a bit of an extra dramatic moment. As you take a look at these controls and kind of what the ship looks like on the outside, Rosmer, you can see that the hull truly is buried within the ring. So this is going to be a somewhat dramatic exit, shall we say.
With absolute faith, he'll remove the cube from his carry pouch and place it on the dashboard, where it sort of sits and almost locks in position. And he'll just look out into the stars and reach for the, imagine some sort of large lever to pull forward to get the thrusters to fire.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to say as you do this? Or are you just going to go?
I think he'll just whisper under his breath, "It's time. I'm going to make it this time."
Alrighty then.
Navigational setup complete. Aiming ready for our target hostiles. Are we ready to fire the MDC?
Yes, I am ready.
As the previous captain liked to say, hell yeah.
Sisters, be with me.
Out of a nearby speaker system begins a rather dramatic tune as the entire ship shakes and begins tearing away from the station. This is a bit of diegetic music, in fact.
I get that reference. Very good.
You can feel free to turn it off if you want to, but essentially the ship is now properly in space. And you are free to fire at the vessel floating nearby that has been firing at you thus far.
Okay, he's going to aim at, he's going to try and take out, he's going to just aim at the ship. He's not, he knows his aim isn't the best because it takes, so he's not going to aim for anything specific. He's just looking for to do damage.
Would you like to turn on aim assist mode?
Please. Yes, please.
Easy mode is now selectable.
Alrighty. So
I would be offended, but I am well aware of my capabilities. Just wait until I get in you.
So, as you sit at this gunnery station, you see the normal controls for the various turrets and things that are kind of crawling all over this ship. But there is one thing that looks like the grip of a pistol, and that is what is flashing with the MDC logo. You grab it and hone in, pulling the trigger. Sound travels differently here. you can hear the mechanisms in the rest of the ship as they boot up, but out in space is just the silence of the void. Usually. And as you pull the trigger, reality collapses in the path that the matter disentanglement cannon carves. There is no air to make sound in space, but the collapse of existence in its path sure does something. And even though you didn't exactly hit, the MDC is powerful enough that nothing is left in its wake. However, you begin to notice in other stations around the bridge that power is going out around the rest of the ship. The bridge may in fact be the safest place to stay now. But
Okay.
for now, there are no enemies on the horizon.
Ashwini is going to go to the bridge. He is dying to like figure and like fix some things and stuff, but like say let's get out of this situation first.
Rosmer, the blink engines do still have power. That system seems to have been reserved away from the rest of the ship.
Then let's make it so, I'll say. And he'll bring his hand down with some grim finality onto the, I assume, big red button marked jump.
And with that, a split seems to happen in space in front of the ship. And the stars beyond are unknown to you, but they are familiar. And as the ship propels itself through this void, that's what we'll end the session. Thank you very much for being a part of it.
Yeah, snaps for
Nice,
everyone.
nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Can we get some jams, Sheila, while we decompress?
Yes. Let me actually go ahead and see if I can find something a little more upbeat. Or do you have something that you could turn on for that?
I did not put any additional music in your Roll20, I'm afraid.
All good, all good.
But thank you very much, everybody, for the inaugural session of Phantom Arts Fest 2, Old Mountain Home. We did it. We had some tech stress, but we got there, and that session was great. I had such a fun time watching all of you. And I hope everybody
was expecting you.
No, we'd arranged that in the background.
That voice. Also, I love the fact that this machine voice is very pitchy. I like it. I like the pitchiness there.
Hey, professional voice actors sometimes I'm paid to do that. But as we're wrapping up, what we like to do on this channel is do comments and kudos, where we just go around the table and tell each other a moment that we really enjoyed somebody else doing. So what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to take us over to the credits screen. The mic will still be hot, so everybody can be heard. There we go. While the credits are scrolling, Percival, what was your kudos? What's your favorite moment that another player did this session? I realize I am putting you on the spot. I am happy to have a moment of going first. I liked at the very start of it when you were investigating the coffee growing experiments, and you said a failed experiment is just a future bomb material, and I was like, iconic. I love that.
That was going to be mine as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, I stole it from you.
So clutch. It was so perfect.
Yeah, okay. Now I have got my head on straight. All right. I just this was really fun. This is the first time I'm playing in this system, and this was a great intro, and I love everyone's characters. Like for a short game, this was really, everyone had really fleshed out their characters. Rosmer's intro with the inscriptions and like the voice that he has, this kind of like, it reminded me a little bit if like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the sad robot played by Alan Rickman.
Yes.
Thank you. So can't take higher praise than getting that compared to Alan Rickman. That shows you at no end.
So I really did enjoy that, and also Anya, Kari is the flashbacks that she was having. That one hurt. I really loved the fact that played out. We got so much of the character in that short moment. Also, Sheila, you are this is of course the first time I'm playing with you, and this was genuinely amazing. I love the way you really set up the world, and I love the entire setup of this. This is a very new setup to me, so this is all just very new, and it was, despite the tech gremlins, this was all really well done. Thank you so much
Thank you very
letting
much.
me be. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Yeah, Anya, Tom, what are your kudos? Throw some kudos out. Pick each other up.
Honestly, I really enjoyed Anya's intro to Kari. The very much set up a character for how the rest of the session went. The taking the opportunity to save somebody, and then so just generally quite a lot of loss for her character this session, I think, as it sort of ploughed on. But no, I said also going to Percival's very upbeat character in what's fundamentally a very grim and dark universe. I was also a massive fan of, and yeah. Of course, the celebrity voice cameo was definitely something.
Yeah, and I loved the narration style. The whole setup was absolutely wonderful, and really just solid intros, I think, for everyone, including Neon Caster's character. Like, just incredible, spot on. It was so much fun, and we really got, like, in this very short game, just that condensed, like, this is who these characters are. And even though we had two chromes, they were very, very different.
You know, Sheila was like talking to me before, being kind of like, oh, you know, it'd be great if you could cameo as like as the AI on the ship. That's kind of your energy, not to be typecast or anything.
Well, you know.
And it was like, what do you want to name them? And I was like, oh man, you know, even when I'm not a player character, naming is difficult. They have two options. We can go for the serious answer and call it North, because it's a guidance system for the ship. Or I can call it Wizard and then set it up like a Windows 95 like setup wizard. And Sheila was like, you know what? That's fun. That's so funny. We'll go for that, even though we're it's like the high drama sesh. So I'm glad that came together. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we need some lightheartedness to mix in with the drama.
You know,
Right.
You know,
That's how you raise the drama.
Yeah.
Real quick. Now that we've let the kind of scroll of the credits go through, we're going to go back to everybody's handles. There we go.
Yes.
And I'm going to go and have the links to everybody's socials.
I do want to just mention out loud. I want to thank Helium Kid Cannon for providing the Death in Space soundtrack. This is all of the background stuff, bar the one Super Robot Wars song I used, has been from the official Death in Space soundtracks and soundscapes.
Wow.
So
nice.
we got permission to use them from the artists themselves and the company behind the game. So we could not be more thankful for that. They're on Spotify. So if you loved the music that you heard today, please give them a check out. They're amazing.
I am linking where you can buy the soundtrack in the chat doobly-doo right now. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Going from bottom to top. Tom, who you at? Where you are?
I'm actually on Instagram now under Phantom Dasher, and I'm going to be putting up pictures of models that I'm painting in an attempt to get myself to do more painting.
I was kind of like, oh, should I do the Insta instead? I'll remember to do the Insta for Sunday, so that will be your socials for that.
I mean, there's like a whole one picture on there at the moment.
You got
so
it. The big journey starts with a single picture.
exactly. Yeah.
Percival, where can we find you? What you doing?
Okay, actually, I am going to be on another stream for Game to Grow on Nerds with Dice. We are going to be playing. We are going to be playing Divine Calling, which is currently on a Kickstarter. So please do go check it out. You get to relive your Percy Jackson dreams there. So please. So you're going to be seeing us play. So please do come join if you can. It'll happen. I think it's going to start in an hour. Also, you can find me on @Doctor_Wyborn on Twitter and Ombre Lesbian Night on the Blue Sky app. Also, you're going to be finding me on a bunch of other stuff. Let me just look up my calendar for just a second. Yeah, I'm going to be playing Thorns and Rust. We're going to be playing a 3-episode series of Thorns and Rust with Exquisite Corpse Productions. Those dates will be up on my Twitter and on Blue Sky. I will also be playing Shadowlight with Nerds with Dice on the 17th. Which is going to be fun. Again, timings will go up. I have to be very careful with timings because I know most of the people who are going to be seeing this are American, and my timings, if I say what the timings are in Indian Standard Time, everyone gets confused. So, let's just keep it simple. But so yeah, these are the games I'm going to be doing for the next, for essentially the rest of the month. This was really great. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's been fabulous to have you. You're a prolific performer. Heck yeah. I'm going to have to tune into some of those. And last but no, well, we still also have Sheila. But Anya, please tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Lalian Cosplay everywhere. Next weekend, I'm going to be in a Pathfinder 2e game for, oh God, I'm in too many things. I have to look at the name of it. Roll for Good. Yeah, Roll for Good. I'm going to be in Pathfinder 2e game, and then I'm going to be running a Monsters of the Week game on Exquisite Corpse Presents. It's a pre-record that's going to be out, I think, on the following Saturday. And then also, I have a Kickstarter that is starting on November 1st for my new 1 to 2 player journaling TTRPG called The Apothecary's Apprentice. And so I've been working on it all day the past 2 days, and it's almost ready to go to my playtesters, and I'm super excited. But definitely check that out. I'm posting everywhere about it.
Heck yeah.
Very cool.
Sheila, where you at? What you doing?
So, as I mentioned way back at the top, my name is Sheila Ornthalis. I run the Come and Go Tavern here on Twitch, on Twitter, and at Blue Sky. I play primarily tactics games, usually grid-based styles. Right now I'm playing through Advance Wars, which, if you don't know what Advance Wars is, hello, welcome to tactics games. But also Wandering Sword, which is a recently released wuxia themed sort of game, kind of getting back into the glory days of sort of Hong Kong and that style of filmmaking. So if you enjoy the Shaw Brothers movies, you will love this game. But I also do these sorts of TTRPGs every once in a while. So check me out at Come and Go Tavern in most places.
Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. And we are going to be continuing with Phantom Arts Fest. In just a little bit over half an hour, we are going to be live with our second game for the evening, Grave Hague, which is run in the still unreleased, so fresh it's bleeding Nazi killing simulator, Eat the Reich.
I approve.
I am so excited to be a player in that, and Ruben is a fabulous GM. So please do, everybody, stay in line. What we're going to do, actually, is that I'm just going to leave the stream running with a half-an-hour countdown. But obviously, so for those who are around, go for a walk, go for a stretch, stay on the line. Don't listen to Caster, I'm a dirty, muddy GM. You will find out for yourself in half an hour. But what we're going to do is we're going to go vanish for a while. We're going to go stretch. We're going to go rehydrate. Thank you so much for making the first, everybody who's in the chat with me right now and who's tuning in. Thank you so much for making a stellar opening to Phantom Arts Fest 2. Give all of yourselves an excellent, good fucking pat on the back, and we will see you in 30 minutes.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.